Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2D Board Gamers. My name is Dave.
And I'm Dirk.
And today we're going to take a look at the fourth scenario in Sinister Motive. This is the Sinister Six.
All right.
So, yes, we don't have one. We don't have two. We don't have three.
How many do you think we're going to have?
We don't have four. We don't have five. But we actually have six different villains.
Thunk it.
All at the same time. Well,
they are all out at the same time.
They can come out at the same time.
Yeah.
You'll see how that works in a second. All right.
All right, so whenever we're setting this up, so this setup's a little bit extra on this one. So you're going to grab each of the members of the Sinister Six here. You're also going to grab the Guerrilla Tactics module, and you'll grab a standard encounter set. And then for setup, you're going to choose X villains at random, where X is the number of players plus one. You're going to put those villains into play face up. And then you're going to place the active counter on the villain with the lowest activation order value, and we'll show you that in a minute. And you're going to set the others aside, and then you're going to put the light at the end side scheme into play trap side face up. It is a two-sided side scheme.
Okay, so now one thing to note. So Guerrilla Tactics is required as it's listed here, but what we do is we swap that out where we can put a random module in because we like a variety.
Yeah, because we don't want to play this to where we're playing the exact same setup every time.
Yeah, it's like the Wrecking Crew.
So we've added a little bit of modularity to it that was not originally there.
Right. But I mean, you could also keep Guerrilla Tactics and add another module, but I didn't want to add because I didn't want to start diluting the encounter deck.
We've tried stuff like that, and it does tend to weaken the encounter deck, we feel like, because they're intended to play through a certain speed, and if you start flooding them out, they don't do that. They don't get their acceleration.
Yeah, the ratio of villain cards versus the other encounter cards.
Yeah.
All right. Then side 1B of Sinister Synchronization starts with 2 threat per player, adds 1 threat per player per turn, has a threshold of 8 threat per player. Ambush. Choose a set-aside villain at random. Put the villain into play and place the active counter on it. In expert mode, you're going to place 2 threat on light at the end of and as a force interrupt, when a villain would activate, if no villain is in play, then you resolve this card's ambush ability and then continue that activation. So you'll see the villains are constantly getting defeated and then they're coming back. It's kind of like tag team.
Yeah, it's defeating all of the villains does not win you this scenario. All right, then we've got the light at the end. The trap side of this here, it's got comes in with 10 threat. It is a permanent, and this one has hinder of 10 threat per player. So 2 players, this is going to start out with 30. The players cannot win unless they escape. So you cannot escape while you're on this side. As a force interrupt, when the last threat is removed from this scheme, you're going to resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme, and then you'll flip this card over, and players can escape when it's on the other side. So that's how you win the game.
And on the other side, this is the chase. This is a permanent, and it's got hinder 10 per player. It starts with 5. The players cannot win unless they escape. And a force interrupt, when the last threat is removed from this scheme, the players escape and win the game. And it has a hazard. So we got like a permanent hazard for the rest of the game.
Yep. All right. Now on the main scheme, if it ever actually pops, it's a 2-stager. So this one, whenever it's revealed, you're going to choose a set-aside villain at random, put it into play, and place the active counter on it, even if another villain was active before that. And if no villain was in play, then you're going to, or if you're in expert mode, you're going to deal the first player a face-down encounter card instead.
All right. And then stage 2B starts with 3 threat per player, adds 1 threat per player per turn, has a threshold of 7 threat per player. The ambush is still the same. Choose the set-aside villain. And if you're an expert, you add 2 threat. Force interrupt, when a villain would activate and you don't have any villains, then you resolve the ambush and then continue the activation. And if this completes, you lose the game.
Yep.
All right. Now, what about the villains themselves?
All right, so the first one we've got here is the leader of the Sinister Six himself, Doc Ock. So he has 8 hit points. You notice it's not per player. He just has 8 hit points. He schemes for 2. He attacks for 2. and his activation order is 1. Remember, it mentioned the activation order earlier, so his is 1. And as a force response, after he attacks and damages you, you're going to place a threat on each scheme and then move the active encounter to the next villain in the activation order, so the next highest one up. Whenever you defeat him, you're going to remove 4 threat from a side scheme, 7 threat instead if he was the last villain in play, and then you're going to set him aside.
And light at the end of is a side scheme.
Yep.
Now, one thing to also note, since he doesn't have, health per player, so if you're playing, like say a 4-player game, then you're starting with 5 villains because
Yes.
that's the number of players plus 1. So that's the scalability between the player counts is how many
The number of villains that you start with.
That you start with.
Yeah.
And of course, each activation, and you defeat them because you got more people doing more damage in theory. So the turnaround rate on the villains is usually more.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's a lot there, but it evens out, trust me.
Yeah. All right. Then number 2 is Electro. He's got 2 scheme, 1 attack, force response. After Electro attacks and damage you, discard the top 7 cards of your deck. Move the active counter to the next villain in the activation order. So it's only when they damage do they do their ability and the active token moves. When defeated, remove 4 threat from a side scheme or 7 if they happen to be the last.
Yeah, and the when defeated on all of them is the same, actually.
Yeah.
So we've got Hobgoblin here. He's number 3 in the activation. He schemes for 2, he attacks for 1, and his force response is after he attacks and damages you, you're going to take 2 indirect damage, and then of course you're going to move the counter onto the next villain, the activation counter.
All right. Number 4 is Craven the Hunter. 1 scheme, 2 attack. After Craven the Hunter attacks and damages you, choose and discard a support or upgrade you control. Then you advance to the next villain.
Okay, and he's got 9 hit points.
Oh, 9 hit points.
I think Hobgoblin has 9 too, in case I forgot to mention it. Scorpion here, he's activation number 5. He's got 10 hit points. He schemes for 0, attacks for 3, and as a force response, after he attacks and damages you, you're going to stun a character you control, and then of course you'll move the activation token.
Right, and then number 6, and the final member of the Sinister Six
Last
is
but not
Vulture. Scheme of 1, attack of 2. He has 7 hit points. After Vulture attacks and damages you, choose to discard a card from your hand. Then you move the active counter.
Yeah, and so what a big part of this game is, since most of the time you're going to turn up having multiple villains out in play, is trying to figure out which one is the worst for your team, because it's not always the same. Depending on your team makeup, you might have a different one that's going to be worse for the team. And so it's just figuring out then typically, and then that's the one you want to try to take out first.
All right. Then we got an attachment here.
All right, so we got the heightened morale. So this one gives plus X. We've got 2 copies of this. It's a condition. You attach it to the villain with the highest activation order value. If you can't, then you're going to resolve the ambush and then attach the villain to that one, or attach the attachment to that villain. And then X is equal to the number of villains in play. So if you've got 4 villains, it's a +4 attack.
All right. Then we have Taunting Presence, 2 copies. It's a condition. Attached to the villain with the most remaining hit points. If you cannot resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme, and threat cannot be removed from light at the end, which of course is how you win the game.
Then we've got 1 copy of Team Leader. So this you'll attach to the villain with the lowest activation number. Of course, if you don't have one, then you're going to do the ambush. And this one has a crisis icon on it.
All right. Then we got Take 1 for the team. It's an attachment attached to the villain with the highest attack. If you cannot resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme, then attach this card to that villain. You cannot attack villains who do not have a copy of Take 1 for the team.
Yeah, so yeah, that it forces you to attack whoever's got it. Then we've got Brute Force Barricade. So this side scheme has 9 threat on it. It does have victory, so once you defeat it, it's gone. But threat cannot be removed from other side schemes. So it means any other side scheme out there. And this one, if it comes out as a boost, you're going to give the villain an additional boost card for the activation.
All right. Now this next group of treacheries, in a way, is like villain team-up cards.
Yes.
So we got frequent flyers here. In expert mode, this card gains Insight 1 and cannot be canceled. When revealed, put the set-aside Hobgoblin and Vulture into play. If Hobgoblin is already in play, take 2 indirect damage. If Vulture is already in play, discard 1 card at random from your hand.
Yeah, all kinds of fun if they're both in play.
Yep.
All right, next we've got the team up for Craven and for Electro. And again, this one, if it's in expert mode, they're going to get Insight 1 and it can't be canceled. But you'll put Craven and Electro into play. If Electro's already in play, you're going to discard the highest cost card you control. And if Craven's already in play, you're going to discard the lowest card you control, cost card. So if they're both in play, you're discarding the highest and the lowest.
And it's called High Fashion.
Yeah. Oh, did I forget to mention that?
Yep. Then we have Robotic Enhancements. In expert mode, this card gains Insight 1 and cannot be canceled. When revealed, put the set aside Doc Ock and Scorpion into play. If Doc Ock is already in play, confuse a character you control. And if Scorpion is already in play, stun a character you control.
All right, we've got 2 copies of Partnership in Pain. So whenever this treachery is revealed, if you're an alter ego, the villain with the lowest activation order value schemes plus X scheme, and X is going to be equal to the total scheme of all other villains in play. So you're going to hope that he's the only one whenever this happens. And if you're in hero form, they're going to attack, and they get plus X, where X is equal to all of the other villains' attack. This one can very easily one-shot a player.
And it was 3 copies.
3 copies of that.
Then we have 3 copies of Surprise. In expert mode, this card gains Surge and cannot be canceled. When revealed, resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme. If no villain was put into play this way, place 3 threat on light at the end, i.e. if all 6 were already out. All right. And then the required, quote unquote, module is called...
Our suggested, well, what we say, we're calling it suggested.
We call it, is called Guerrilla Tactics. And the first card we have is 2 copies of Life-Size Decoy, 0 scheme, 0 attack, 5 hit points. In expert mode, it gains toughness. The engaged player cannot thwart side schemes. And as a boost, put this minion into play engaged with you.
Right. Then we've got Coordinated Effort. So this side scheme has a 6 threat. Each enemy gains +1 acceleration icon while this is in play. And if it comes out as a boost, you're going to place the threat on each scheme. And if you're in expert mode, you're going to do an additional threat on the main scheme as well.
Okay. Then we have Hidden in Shadows. Comes in with 4 threat. Each enemy gains 1 hazard icon. And as a boost, deal 1 indirect damage to each player, and in expert mode, you deal 1 additional indirect damage to the first player. So it's like, wah, wah. There you go, Mr. First Player.
And you're kind of seeing why, though, this one came with this and was the required one for it, because it gives these boosts to each enemy, and you can easily have 6 villains in play.
Yeah.
Not counting any of the minions. So this one, teamwork makes the dream work. This one's got 5 threat. While it's in play, each enemy gets +1 scheme and +1 attack. And if it comes out as a boost in expert mode, this card gets +2 boost icons for the activation.
Yeah, personally, I would have rather maybe these cards been part of the encounter, the encounter set, and then being able to, throw in a module in. But I mean, these still work, because the way it is now, you can put these in with other villains too.
Yeah.
But I think it gets diluted a little bit, unless you're playing like the 4 Horsemen with them or something. From every direction, you've got 2. It's a treachery. We have 2 copies. In expert mode, the card gains Surge. When revealed, place 1 threat on the main scheme for each enemy in play. All right. So that was the Sinister Six, which is the 4th scenario in the Sinister Motive campaign. But again, the campaign, the villain that the campaign is named after, in a way, is not the 5th and final villain. I wonder who the 5th villain is.
I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
We'll see. If you saw earlier videos that we hinted a little bit about it, but it's not exactly.
I'm trying to scrub it from my mind.
Well,
it's one of the hardest in the game.
That's the next video we're going to do in this series. So it will be in Dirk's brain pretty soon. All right. Well, anyways, thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe.
And if you want to see more content by us, go ahead and hit that notification bell down there, and you will get alerts whenever we post new videos. All right, see ya.